So if you never heard about the raising of Chicago, here's what happened. Basically, the entire city of Chicago was getting sick because they had no sewage or drainage system. And they were trying to come up with all different types of ways to fix this problem, which was pretty huge. And the idea to raise the entire city was something that people were like, nah, that'll never work. That'll take too long. There's no possible way we could do it. Until a bunch of young engineers came up with this idea to take little screws like this and turn and jack up the buildings in Chicago millimeter by millimeter, centimeter by centimeter. In fact, they were able to do almost the entire city in 3 years, jack it all up, put in the sewage system, and now they had a fix to their problem. I think about this a lot when we talk about building culture at an organization or a school or any type of workplace. What happens a lot of times is that we want to go for the big, quick fix, right? The thing that's going to happen right away, when it's those little tiny things every single day that are going to eventually lead to changing the culture. At Wissahickon High School, when I was a teacher there was a number of students that were complaining about the fact that every single time they went to a sporting event or every single time they went to a concert, whether it was a band or a music concert or a school play, there was just a lack of other students that were partaking, that were excited about these things happening on campus, that had any type of spirit or camaraderie about what everybody was doing, not just what they were doing. Of course, people will come to football games. Of course, people will come to basketball games, but for most of the people, the kids that were doing cross country, golf, water polo, the people that were in debate, that were in the band, there wasn't a lot of spirit around supporting those activities and those sports that weren't maybe the big two on campus. And so these students came up to my good friend Steve Mogg and I and said they wanted to do something about it. And we ended up coming up with this idea that was very small, but something that I think we could all take a lesson from when we're building culture. They decided they were going to start a club that was to support other activities and other sports. They called it FANS, Following Activities and Sports. And what they did was they showed up in the fall to everybody's activities. And there wasn't many of them, right? I think it started out with 8, then all of a sudden there was 20, then there was 30, then there was 40 students. And they would show up to, a golf match and sit there and clap like this. And they would show up to a concert and dress all fancy. They would show up to a water polo match and get all rowdy. They would show up everywhere. And what happened is, as soon as they started to show up, people wanted to join because they wanted to show up for the people that had shown up for them. And it wasn't just one group of people that were in that fans club. There were kids from all different walks of life, all different organizations, all different likes, all different things that they were into. But the main thing that they were into was getting excited about what everyone was doing on campus. Within a year, the club had grown to 100 people. Within 2 years, we had 500 members. And we started all different types of traditions, getting kids out there to support. It made it more fun to partake in activities. It made it an activity to go to those things and support. And what it did was completely change the culture and the school spirit just by one small little turn, just like the raising of Chicago. So when you're thinking about building culture, don't think about that one big thing you can do. Think about all the daily small things of how you can show up and support other people, because when you do that, they're going to want to go and support and show up for you whenever you're doing something that maybe isn't their cup of tea, maybe isn't something that they're actually that interested in. They'll show up because you did it first.